Good evening, everyone. I hope all are you doing great, and thanks for joining us in our expert talk. I am Anamika, and I welcome you all to today's webinar on components in React. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Varun Gupta. Varun is software developer and consultant by profession and trainer by passion, with a wide breadth of development and training experience. He has a rich experience in technology consulting, providing solutions on complex and diverse problems to corporates. He specializes in C, XML, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript patterns, AngularJS, and many more. And in today's session, he'll be talking about what are components and types of components in React. Without taking any more time, I will give the floor to Varun and we'll begin this session. Just to let everyone know, you can ask questions in between, or you can wait for a Q&A session that will be conducted at the end. Varun, the floor is yours. Thanks for taking this session.
Thanks, Anamika. Hi, everyone. Welcome to all this session. So my name is Varun. As Anamika said, today the topic for the webinar is React.js and the components. Let me share my screen once again. Just give me a minute. Can you confirm? Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, it is to me.
Fine. So guys, today we are here to discuss about the components in React. Now, component is something which is not new. You can take any modern front-end development framework, you will see the components are everywhere. You can find the components in every framework. No matter you are using React.js, you are using Angular, you are using Vue.js. First of all, we need to understand why we need these components. Or first of all, we need to understand why we have this modern frameworks. Traditionally, we are building the entire application using the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then why we require this modern frameworks? What is the advantage we have with these frameworks? Although we still say that a browser only understand HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. No matter you use any framework, either it is React or it is Angular or any other popular framework. By the end of the day, you have to convert that entire code into JavaScript because browser understand only the JavaScript. No matter you write code in TypeScript or JSX, we have to transpile the code into the JavaScript that the browser can understand. Then why we require this framework when we have to convert the entire code into the traditional JavaScript only? That is something we'll be discussing today. We're also going to discuss about the different type of components that we can create in React. Although if you compare with the other frameworks, they give you only one option that we can create a components to build an application. However, in the case of React, we have two type of components that we're going to discuss today. And we're also going to do some demo, some hands-on exercise just to see how to build, what is the advantage we have with the components. So let's get started. First of all, what is React? So React is a JavaScript library, which is created by the Facebook. Facebook, you already know, it is one of the biggest company, IT company. So you can say the React has a great future because it has been backed by one of the biggest company in the IT. React is used for building the interface, user interface, right? Somebody used to call React as a framework, but it is not correct to say it's framework because it is just a JS library. And you cannot compare React with the Angular, although both of them are used for the same purpose. But still, you can say Angular is a complete framework, which provides you everything that you may require. On the other hand, React is just a library. You may require some other things to build the entire front end. You may require any you can say HTTP library, let's say Axios. You may require request. You may require fetch API. So that are the other components you may require to build an entire front end. But Angular give you everything. Now you might be wondering, then why Angular is not good? Why React is good? So it's not, as I said, it is not correct to compare both this, you can say Angular and React because they are good in their own terms, right? Both of them have their own advantage and disadvantage. You need to think which one is better for you, right? However, React is having an edge with the Angular. Why? Because since I said it has a very huge community support. That is the first thing. Second, React gives you the flexibility to add any component, right? You can bring any other library to build to build your own ecosystem. React have a very huge ecosystem. It is not compelling you to use some of the inbuilt libraries. You are always open to bring any other library if you want. So React is a tool for building the UI components. If you see some of the important points about the React is developed by the Facebook in 2011. So it is there in the market from almost a decade. It is a quite mature, you can say, library. At the heart of the React application, we refer to the components. Everywhere you can find components are everywhere. So the React also follows the same web component-based architecture. Components will have its own state, and it has a render method which can be used to dynamically change the UI. So based on the user interaction, you can also modify the UI as per the user interaction. One thing which make the React different from the other, React will say that you don't have to go and modify the actual DOM, or you can say the real DOM. React will try to create a virtual DOM, and it will say you just modify whatever you want into the virtual domain. I'll take care and I will going to update the main DOM. So that is the advantage we have, because React will keep on comparing the virtual DOM with the actual DOM, and we generally manipulate the virtual DOM. And the rest of the thing will be taken care by the React. Some of the features of the React, you can say, first of all, React will provide us something called JSX. Now somebody might not know about the JSX. JSX is a kind of a JavaScript embedded or combined with the XML, which give you the syntax which look like an HTML, but it is not HTML. Most of the developers, they don't know what is this JSX. It is a combination of the HTML, or you can say the XML with the JavaScript, which give you the syntax that look like an HTML. Suppose if I write h1 tag, we know h1 tag belongs to the HTML. But when we write the h1 tag into the React, right, it becomes JSX. And it gives us the flexibility to write our code very in a simple way using the JSX syntax. I'll cover that as well. Then we have components. We go, instead of building the entire page as a whole, we're going to divide entire page into subsections. Every section represented by a components, right? And these components you can use, you can compose them, you can redesign them, you can do whatever you want. The idea is we want to follow the modular approach. Instead of building as an entire whole web page as a whole, we're going to split into multiple subsections. Every section represented by a component. We can bind the data. Data can flow from one component to another component, or either way. It has a virtual DOM, as I said, is a concept of virtual DOM where we just going to try to create a virtual DOM, and we modified the virtual DOM, and React will going to update the main actual DOM. React is considered to be simple and expressive, and it also performance driven. Now this is where the React win the battle with Angular. Angular is sometimes we get something we may not require. It create a huge bundle size. Sometimes it also impact the performance of the application. On the other hand, React is very lightweight. And that's the reason it is not a framework which give you some unnecessary things which we may not require. So you can choose only those things that you require. Keep the bundle size as low as possible, which will definitely impact the performance of the application. So guys, if you have any question in between, you can keep parking your question in the chat. I will going to have a constant eye in the chat. If the question can be addressed while during the session, I will. Otherwise, we're going to have a QA session in the end. Feel free to park your question in the chat. So we're not going to go in much about the React theory part, so I can skip the slides. And now the main questions come, which one is better? So there are three, you can say, candidates who are contesting this the battle to win this battle. Which one is the most, you can say, better than the other? So we have first Angular, then we have React.js, and now this Vue.js also becoming hugely popular. There are a lot of companies, they are building their entire solution using the Vue.js. However, still I believe the Angular and React are neck to neck, and Vue.js maybe can be on a second spot. So if you compare the React with the Angular, there are so many comparisons. As I said, Angular is a complete framework, but this is not a complete framework. It is just a library. In the case of React, we always go for the one-way data binding. However, in the Angular, we can use two-way data binding. So two-way data binding, sometimes you feel that it is better, but sometimes it will also going to impact the performance. DOM, React using a virtual DOM. However, Angular use the incremental DOM. If you talk about the learning curve, React is very easy to learn. Sometimes Angular feel hard to learn. There are a lot of things that we need to understand, the flow of the application. A lot of things we have to understand in the case of Angular. A lot of confusion are there. Performance, you can say, of course, performance React is faster, and Angular is some slower as compared to the Angular. as compared to the React. Now, if you want to get started with the Angular, you have to first require the node. We don't require the node, we require the Node.js. Sorry, we require the NPM. So we require the node. So node is basically, again, a very popular, you can say a runtime environment. So again, you cannot call node as a framework. Node is just a kind of an environment, provide you the environment where we can execute our JavaScript code. However, if you see traditionally, if you write some JavaScript code, we have to run that in the browser to see the output. But now after that Node.js, we can able to execute our JavaScript code without the browser. Even we can also run the Node.js or JavaScript code in the server. Now the JavaScript developer can also be considered as a full stack developer. You can build the entire front end using a JavaScript. You can build the entire backend using a JavaScript with the help of Node.js. Even database are also using a JavaScript. You take an example of MongoDB. So first we require the node, which also comes with the NPM. So NPM is nothing, just the node package manager. So node package manager, the similar, if you're coming from a Java background, you might have used Maven, Gradle. In .NET, we use NuGet, right? In PHP, we use Compose. So these are the package managers, which help you to manage your dependency and the packages and the libraries. Similarly, to manage the node dependency, React dependency, we'll be using the NPM. The first thing that we have to do is we have to go to the nodejs.org and install Node.js. After this, of course, we required one editor. I strongly recommend you to use VS Code, and there is a reason behind this. First of all, this is for lightweight, very powerful. It will going to increase your productivity by giving you a lot of suggestions, a lot of extensions are there. You can install the extensions to automate your or to auto-complete your code very quickly. That definitely going to impact your productivity. Once we are done, now we have to we want to use this package, create React app. So there are certain commands you can try. Let's say if you want to check the version of the node after the installation of the node, you can use node space minus version. Let me give you an example for this. You can open the CMD, your command line, or what we can do, we just going to create, let's say, a folder. So I can create a new folder here. So this is our React. And I can open my git bash. And in this git bash, we can use node space minus version just to confirm whether we have a Node.js or not. It will going to give you the Node.js version. If you're getting that output, that means you have installed Node.js. Similarly, we can say npm minus version. Again, you can see it giving me the version of the npm. That's perfectly fine. The next step is we need to install a package called create React app. So this is the package you can use to create a new React application. So we don't have to go and download the library like we do traditionally. We just, with the help of the CLI support, we're just going to write a single command, and that we're going to create a project for us, right? Now to install this package, we have to use this npm create React app, right? So you can use this command npm install, then we can say create React app. So this means we want to use the npm to install a package. So it is npm install and the package name. Any specific version of this package you want to install, you can just put the @ and you can write a version also. If you don't know the version, no worries, just write to create React app. After you execute a command, that will going to install this create React app, or even you can also install this package by using a -g flag. Now, what does -g do? This will going to install this package globally, right? The benefit is we don't have to go and install this package again and again. We can install this package globally. Once you just have to do this only one first time. Next time you can use the same package to install to create multiple projects. So it is a kind of a tool, right? So always try to go with the -g. So that will going to install the package globally. Sometime you may get an error with this -g because it tried to install the package globally, and you may require some permissions. If you are on Mac or Linux, you may require sudo, or if you are on Windows, you may require administrator right? However, I have this package, so I will not going to install this package. However, we can say create React app space minus version. Okay, so we can say create React app and then we can provide the project name. So in this case, we can say create React app and you can give a project name. Now what it will do, it will going to create a folder by this name and copy all the files and folders that you may require to get started, right? So we can say create React app and we can say this is my React -demo. Don't use capital case. You may get an error because that is not the recommended, the naming convention. So always use small case and you can use hyphen or underscore. So suppose I want to create a project by the name called React demo. You can just press enter. It's look like I don't have this package. So I can install the package npm create React app. And then we can write, then we can either we can say recreate npm install create React app -g. Now this is something that you, if you want to use this package, if you want to install the package locally, otherwise we can also use one more. There's one more way we can create a package, create a project. You can say npx, and then we can say create React app. Let's say React demo. The advantage is in this case, npx is a kind of a node npm node package manager runner. That means without having this package installed locally, still you can able to use the package to create a React application. So npx is a package manager runner, which means we can use the npm to install and manage the packages, but npx is a kind of a package runner. So without having this package, still I can able to use the package to create a new project. So we can say npx create React app, and then we can say React demo. Now you'll observe this will take some time and it will going to create a project. It has started the process. It will take maybe 2 or 3 minutes based on your internet connectivity and create a new project for you. So we'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, you can ask. Guys, feel free if you have any questions, you can write in the chat. Okay. Okay, sure. So Anjali is asking the use of -g, I tell you. So basically, suppose sometime with some packages, some tools I may require in multiple projects, right? So I don't want to go and install that tool or that package with every project. So with the help of the -g, what will happen, that package get installed globally in your system, in your machine globally. That means you can install once and then you can use it multiple times. If you don't include this -g, it will be kind of a local dependency for that particular project. But when you say -g, it will going to be a kind of a global package which can be used in multiple projects. Right, Anjali? Did I answer your question? Okay. So now if you see, we have this React demo. So we have to first go inside this folder, React demo, and now we can open it in the VS Code. Now from the command line, if you want to open the VS Code from this project directory as from this folder as a project directory, you can simply write here code space and dot. That will going to open your VS Code. So that we're going to open the VS Code, and you can see this is the folder structure we have. Now in the VS Code, why I recommend the VS Code? Because VS Code comes with the integrated terminal. We don't have to manage two screens. We don't have to manage this VS Code for writing the code, and for executing command, you have to go to the git bash or maybe the command line. Now we don't need this. We can close this because this VS Code comes with the integrated terminal. Either you can press Control backticks or click on the terminal and say new terminal, right? You can see this is your terminal window where you can execute all the possible commands. You can say node space version, right? That's going to give you the same version number. Now to start with the project, I want to see my project running. Now to make your project up and running, you can simply say npm start. So npm start will going to start the server, and you can see the output on the screen. You will see a default page. This is a default page. So when you create a new project, you can say this is how by default it is running on the port number 3000. You can change that port number as well, but this is your default screen. Now from where this content is coming. Now for this, we need to understand the folder structure. Now if you look at the folder structure, it is simple and straightforward. So we have this node module. Now this node module is one of the biggest folder we have in the entire project. This node module contains all the dependencies that you may require to run the React application. Then we have public folder. This folder contains all the public assets like your index.html. And this is the only page, HTML page that we may have. And we're going to change the content dynamically. Then we have SRC, means source. This is your source folder where you're going to create all the components. And then we have this get ignore, which you might know. This is the file where we're going to mention all the files and folder which I want to ignore while publishing my code on the GitHub or any remote server. After this, we have this package lock.json file. Again, this is auto-generated file, which you're going to keep the track of all the versions of the dependencies. Package.json file is one of the important file. Now, this is the file which is being managed by the NPM. So whenever we install any dependency, any package, the NPM will going to update the package.json file. Right? So if you open this file, you can see this file contains all the list of dependencies that you may require. Right? This is all the dependency you may require. So this file is maintained by the NPM. After this, we have README file. This is just a small file where we're going to write some instructions. So this is a typical folder structure look like. If you expand the public, you can find this index.file. This is the file which finally gets served on the screen. But again, this also not going to have the content which I can see on the screen. In the body, we only have one tag, div id root. Now, what this div id do will others do? So if you open this SRC, there's a file called index.js. You can say this is your entry point for the React application. In this, you can see we have a method called create. We have a method called document.getElement by ID. And what we are doing is we try to find out this element. And in this element, we try to inject this app component. So by default, we get this Angular first component that is called the app. And then you can go ahead and can create more components. Now let's understand what is the components. I'm just going to skip the syntax for the time being. We'll cover this later. Okay. Now components are the independent and reusable piece of code. These are the independent part of the entire website. Suppose you are building a very huge application. I'm building a very huge application where we have multiple widgets I want to display. You would take an example of Facebook. In the Facebook, you have a wall. Right side, you might be having some widgets. You have a messenger. In the wall also, we have the like button. We have various widgets are there. Now, if I ask you to design this entire web page, it is very difficult for you to design. But if I ask you to just work on one single section of the entire this page, it will be easy for you to do that. The benefit is you can divide this entire page into multiple components. First, you need to identify how many components we may require. Suppose you can say these components are the building block of your application. In the React, everything is component. Everything is component. Components serve the same purpose as a JavaScript function. You can say these components are some kind of a function. We can call them and it will going to give you some functionality. But it works in the isolation. They are independent. So we try to follow some kind of a loosely kind of a structure. We don't want to have tightly coupled kind of a structure where changing one component will impact the other. So we try to have the component in such a way that it will not have a direct impact on the other. You can take an example of this website. Suppose this is the page that we want to create. You can say there are several elements are there. We have this, let's say a logo. We have this menu, navigation bar. Might be this is the header. Then there are several sections are there. Now a real application will be more complex than this. Assume you want to build this web page. Now still you can see there are several elements are there. First of all, I need to identify how can I split this entire page into components. You have to think about it, the component in a component way. I can say This can be one component, my brand component, which contain the logo, my app name. This can be my navbar component. So I can create one more component that will be navbar component. This can be my header component, and these can be my footer components. And to keep all them tightly in one single, to make a single page, we require a root component. So you can say root component is a kind of a big container in which I can place multiple subcomponents. So instead of building as a whole, we will focus only on the subsections of this entire page, and we build them individually. We take one brand component, design it. Then we take this navbar and then design it. So that is how we can keep on adding the components, and that is how we can able to build the entire page. So it is a kind of a, you can say, same ingredients. We can change the composition to have a different design, different look and feel every time. Tomorrow you want to have the brand name on this right hand side, it's very easy. Just take it and put it in the right hand side. But if it is a one single page, will be difficult for you to first pick up that code and put it in the right hand side, because that may also going to impact the layout of the page. But having the components, they are independent. They are the subsections. You can say we have a big container in which we can place our multiple sub-containers. You went to a shop, you buy multiple products, then you take a big bag and put all the products into it. React is same. It is a big bag where you can have all the components. You can place them in the way you want. In the React, we can create two types of components. First, we have functional components, and then we have class components. Now, you can also call this functional component as the stateless components. Now, state is very important here. Every component may or may not manage some kind of a data. Suppose if you take a previous example, this is just going to display the logo. Does not maintain any data. It will just going to have a static content. Now that can be done with the help of a functional component, which has a very simple syntax. It's just a function which return a piece of HTML. That's it. Take the example of this one, navbar component. Now navbar component have to keep the maintain some kind of a data. For example, it has to maintain the items we have in the cart. It has to maintain the list of products. So that means it has to maintain some sort of data. So for that, we require a class component, because class components can maintain the state. State is nothing, you can say just the data which has been managed by the component. So we can decide either we want to go for the functional component or we can go with the class component. Functional components are also known as stateless because they are not maintaining any kind of a state. And you can see the syntax is pretty much simple. We can have a function, that function return a piece of HTML. However, it is not an HTML, it is just a JSX. But assuming it is an HTML. They work like a JavaScript function which accept a prop as an argument. Now, prop is something that we're going to use for communication between the components. Suppose A want to send data to B, then they can use props. They do not have their own state, but they can use the state in form of props and can display. They return the JSX or the React element. Similarly, we have class components. Now, class components are more complex. We need to create a class which extends from the component class, which comes from the React package. And then we have a render function. A render function is something that's going to return the JSX. So whenever state gets changed, this render will be called every time. And that we're going to return the updated JSX code. This class components will going to manage their own state, right? Any doubts so far, guys? Feel free to ask if you have any doubt, any questions. So how many of you having a prior experience with the React, or this is the first time you are learning, or you are discussing about the components or any React framework or any Angular framework? Have you ever worked with any of the framework, React, Angular, Vue.js, or this is the first time you are attending this webinar? Okay. Okay, Divesh is saying first time. Shalja saying first time. Okay, very good. So I hope this will be a kind of an eye opener for you if you want to start your career as a web developer. So there are two key skills you may require. First is a front-end developer. Second is a back-end developer. And in the front-end developers, you need to learn these frameworks. These are some of the in-demand skills. You can search on internet. There are a lot of jobs out there for the React and Angular developers, right? but you should having a basic prior knowledge in the HTML or in the JavaScript, right? Because the concepts are same, the way we going to, the approach we are using to build an application, that is different, right? Let me give you a simple example. Let's take a typical example of a web page and let's build this. So for example, suppose I want to build a web page. A typical web page look like we're going to have the header, or you can say a nav bar, right? Okay, Praveen, I come back to your question shortly. So suppose we are building a typical web page, we're going to have the a nav bar, and then we're going to have, let's say, the header. And then we can have a sidebar, and then we can have a footer, sorry, a main content. And then we can have the footer, correct? So this is a typical web page look like. Either you can have a sidebar on right side or left side, or maybe you can have sidebar both sides. But this is a web page, typical web page look like. So usually we're going to have the nav bar, we have the header, we have the sidebar. So this is your, let's say, header. This is your header, sorry, nav bar. This is your bar, and this is your header. So this is my header, and this is the main content. Suppose we can say this is my main content, and this is your sidebar. So we can say this is my sidebar. And finally, this is my footer. Now, if you have to create this page into the React, so you have to think about the in a component way. First of all, identify how you can divide this entire page. How can we divide this entire page? So we can divide this page into how to divide the page into components. So if you see, there's some kind of a logical breaks we can do. For example, you can say, I can have here, I can say this is can be my header component, sorry, navbar component. So I can identify that this section of my page can be a navbar component, which going to have the navbar content only. Similarly, we can have one more section that can be your header component. That is my component number 2. Then we can have a sidebar as another component. So we try to we divide this page. So you can say first division can be on navbar. We can have one section as navbar, second as header, third as sidebar, fourth can be as main content. Then we can have the footer as a fifth one. Every section that you have divided can be represented by a component. And to group them together, we need one parent component that can be your root component. That means to build this page, we required 5 to 6 components. What is the advantage of this? As I said, these components are independent. That's going to give you the modular kind of an approach. They're not tightly coupled with each other. They are independent. You can design them and there will not interference of these components with each other. Let's build this. Suppose if I want to build this page into the, if we want to build this page in the React, how can we do that? Before this, let's go back to our visuals VS Code, and you can see this is the index.js, which is the starting point for the React application. This is from where it will going to start the execution. So that means we try to inject this app component into the root element, right? So we find the element and try to add my app component into this, right? Now, by default, you get this app component. This is the app.js. This is your default component. You get by default. And these files, app.css and app.test.css, are the files that belong to the same component. You can say together, these 3 files together can form your one component. However, if you want, you can have one single file also, but we also want to have further separation of concern. We want to have a separate file for the CSS, for styling, a separate file for my testing, right? So this is the main file app.js. Now you might be wondering from where we can see this content, from where this is coming. Edit src, this is right. This is coming from this file only, app.js. You can see this is. So I can just change this and I can write here hello world. As a tradition, whenever we learn something new, we always start from the hello world example. So let's write hello world. You can go back and you can see it is coming hello world. So this is the first component you get by default. So I don't need all this stuff. You can just remove everything from here. Just remove everything from here and then simply write here h1 and this is world. And save this now and go back. You can see It will just display hello world. Now we understood from where this content is being served, right? So we need to create 5 more components, and then we're going to put them in the same sequence to make this page, right? Now, so what we can do, how to create a component? As of now, just create, I'm just going to, as per the best practices, I'll try to create a folder by the name called components, in which I will going to place all my component files. Instead of creating all the files direct in the SRC, I first would like to have a folder by the name called components. So let's right click here and create a folder by the name called components. Inside the components, let me create a new file, and that will be, let's say, my navbar.js. We don't have to create any HTML file. We're going to say a navbar.js. Now, to create a component, there are 2 options. Either you can go for the class component or you can go with the functional component. As I said, if you're not managing any data, functional components are very easy to create. It's just a JavaScript function which return a piece of JavaScript. So what we can do, first of all, we have to import. We have to first import, we can say import from the React package, this React, because that will going to give you the, you can say the definition how to work with the JSX code, right? So what I will do in here, suppose, first of all, I can write, you can see I can write some shortcuts here. So these shortcuts are coming from the marketplace. You can go to this marketplace and you can search for the extension called simple React snippet. And that's the reason why I recommend you to use VS Code. It comes with a huge list of extensions. You can install them to increase your productivity. So let's click on the simple React snippet, and this is that you can install, and you can see I can simply say IMRC that going to automatically generate the entire code. If I just want to create a class component, just write C and press the tab key. You can see this is a complete list of shortcuts are there. Along with this, I also recommend one more extension that is called the Prettier. You can install this, use this Prettier extension that is used for formatting your code. This is the Prettier code. So we also want to, sometimes we forget to where is the opening, where is the closing. You can use this extension Prettier that will going to format your code. And you can also see I'm using some kind of a coloring here, right? Every bracket is color, so that is because of this bracket color pair colorized. So just to identify where is the opening, where is the closing, you can also use this extension bracket pair colorized, right? So as per my experience, if I go ahead, I can give you a lot of other shortcuts, some tweak and tricks that can help you to increase your productivity, right? So as of now, let's come back to the navbar. So I can use this IMR and you can press the tab key. That's going to give you this. Now to create a functional component, you can use the syntax, let's say a function. I can say this is my navbar, and then you can say, and then we need to export this. So because in the JavaScript, every file is considered to be a module. Anything that you define here cannot be used outside this. So we need to export this first. So we can say export default and navbar, right? Now this function will going to return some code. So we can say it will just going to return, let's say the h1, and we can say this is going to be my navbar. This is going to be my navbar. You can save this now. Now this is the component. Now we need to nest this component inside the app component, as we discussed. This is your app component in which you're going to place this navbar, right? So how to do this? You can go back to your app component app.js, and here, instead of writing this hello world, we can write here navbar. Whatever the name you have given to the component, that become now the HTML element. Just write navbar space / and close this. But you also have to make sure that you have to import this. You can see it is this navbar is class is coming from the components navbar, right? Now you can save this and go back to the browser. You will observe now we can see navbar. Similarly, we can create few more components. Let's say I can create another file that will be my header.js. And then you can say there's going to be function. Now you can use this function, this old traditional syntax, or you can use the ES6 new syntax with the to create a function using arrow syntax. So we can say constant header And we can just write here using the arrow function. Again, we can use the same thing. Say h1, this is my header. Okay. It's going to be return. Oh, sorry, not return. Just a second. We forgot to add equals to here. Now we can say return h1, and we can say this is my header component. And of course, we have to export this. Then only I can able to call this in the another file. This is my header. Save this. Let me copy this. Let me add one more component. This is my sidebar. This is my sidebar.js. Let me paste this. I'm just going to change the name here. Sidebar. That's it. And let me change this everywhere. And the next one we can create, that will be your main content. So we can say main.js. So this is my main component. So we can create a single page application also very easily. That means we're just going to have one single page and we change the content on the fly. This is my main component. And the last one is the footer. So let me quickly go and create a footer also. Footer.js. Let me write a footer. This is your footer. Footer. This is also footer. Again, you can say this is going to be footer. Save this. Now we need to call all these components inside my app component. So in the app.js, the way we have called the navbar, after the navbar, we have to call the header. Now think about this sequence, the header. After the header, we require sidebar. So let's call sidebar also, sidebar. After sidebar, we required main. And finally, footer. Save this now. Open the browser, you can see we got all the components called inside the app component. But this doesn't look like this page, right? This doesn't look like this page. Now, how to make this look like a page? We need to add some content. So what we can do, just to quickly design this, I can install Bootstrap. You know what is Bootstrap? How many of you know Bootstrap? Anybody don't know Bootstrap? So this yes is for you know or don't know. Okay, no problem. So basically Bootstrap is just a CSS library you can use to decorate or design your web page. No, it is usually it is incorrect to say it is a framework. It is just a CSS library. It's not again a framework. It will just provide you some built CSS classes that can be used to decorate your pages. So just if you want to design it quickly, we are going to install the Bootstrap as a dependency. Now you can find in the package.json file, we have a new dependency, Bootstrap, right? So what we can do now, we can include this in our index.js. We can write here, import node modules contain a folder by the name called Bootstrap, which contain a folder by the name called dist, which contain a folder by the name called CSS, and where we have the bootstrap dot min.css. Now remember one thing, whenever we add something in the index.js file, we always have to restart the server. So let me quickly restart the server. Yes, and then let me start this once again. Okay, everything is fine. Now just to decorate this better, right? What we can do, I can just go back, I can open this website, get Bootstrap. Now this will going to give, this is the official website you can use to see all these CSS classes, and they're also given me some, you can say demos. So what we can do, we can go to the components, and there is a component called navbar. So this is the navbar. I just going to copy the entire HTML. Now what I will do, this will going to give me this kind of a navbar. So as of now, what we can do, I can go back to my navbar component, right? And we can just remove this. Now, one thing is also very important. This can only return one single element. If you want to return, let's say the h1 tag, and then after this, you also want to return p tag, it will give you the error, right? So we have to return only one single element. So what we can do, we can just return here let's say a div, or you can say a single element, that is your nav, right? I'm getting this error because we have to remove this form, and we also have to remove, everything's fine. Now, one thing is important in this case. Now, since class is a reserved keyword in the React, so we cannot use this class. If you want to use this class, then we have to use class name. So class represent the JavaScript class or JSX class, but class you want to implement, but here we mean a class is a CSS class. So we can replace this class keyword with the class name. That will be perfectly fine. Replace all, fine. Now if we also want to change this theme to make it dark, you can say dark and again dark. Now you will observe, you will get a very nice navbar. Right? Now we want to add header. In the header, we have something called Jumbotron. So just go to the Jumbotron and copy this content. Where are you going to put this? Now it's very easy to add the content to your web page, because I know that we have a dedicated component for the header. So open the header. In this, we can return the Jumbotron. So we can say just going to return the Jumbotron. Again, we can replace the class with the class name, and we can format the code. So let's click on the format document with prettier. That's it. Again, if you go back, you will observe you get a very nice header also. Now it looked like somewhere a page. Now we want to add sidebar and main content as well. So let me quickly go and add this also. So we can go to our app component first of all. Now what are we going to do? We're going to use some Bootstrap grid system to place the sidebar and the header adjacent to each other. So this we can say if a class name will be row. We can use here row. Inside the row, we can have a column. So we can say this going to be div class name, and then we can add here. There's a class called call LG3. So don't worry about all this thing. This is nothing specific to the React. This is the Bootstrap styling I'm using here. It's going to be 9. Sorry, yes, 9. Inside this, we're going to put the sidebar in the first column. And similarly, the main we're going to put in the next column. Let me format this. So you can click on this, format with prettier, and that's it. You can save this now, open the browser. You can see now they are coming adjacent. Let's add the content. You can search here, list group. This is a, let's say, sidebar I want to have. You can copy this. It's not, you can add any kind of a content. Just for the, in the interest of time, I'm just going to add some default content. So we can write here, there's going to be, let's format this. You can save this. Again, you can go back. And now you can search for, there's another website called Lipsum. That's going to give you some default text. So I'm just going to copy this, right? And now you can go in the main content, and here you can replace this. You can use this as a div tag. In the div tag, we can have this p tag and add the content. Then you can add one more paragraph. You can add here another paragraph, and that's it. You can go back to the browser and you will observe. Now this look like a web page. By looking at it, nobody can say that this is a React application, but we know that we have built this in a pieces and parts. Easy for us to manage the code. Make sense? Similarly, you can add footer also. So as of now, what we can do in the footer, I'm just going to copy the header content, this entire header content, and put in the footer also. So we can say this is going to be Jumbotron again. Let's format this code, and we are done. So we have the header, we have the navbar, we have the header, a sidebar, then we have the main content, and then we have the footer. Again, of course, you can modify this the way you want. You can customize, you can rewrite the entire HTML. So this is how we're going to use the component-based architecture to build any kind of a complex enterprise level application. I hope this is clear to all of you. So that's it from my side. Now I'm going to open the floor for the discussion. If you have any doubt, any questions regarding anything, you can ask. I hope you enjoyed the session. If you are in doubt, any questions, feel free to ask now. Can we use React Angular along with JSP? Like some modules in the modules are JSP struts to, some are React Angular, or we have to convert current. I didn't get your question, Sham. First of all, see, we don't mix the backend technology with the front end. Java is something we use to build the backend of the application. And this Angular React, they are the front end. If your question is, can we mix React and Angular? The answer is no. You should not be do this, right? Either you can go with the Angular or React. You can do one thing, you can have certain modules in your application. Maybe you can say the admin side, you can build with the React, user side, you can build with the front end, but they will be an independent project. And React, nothing to do with the Java. Java is something which is going to execute in the server level to build the backend. Usually, when we have the Java, right? Traditionally, we use something called servlets, studs, right? So, applets. But now modern applications are building like following the server and client architecture, and they should be independent. We can use Spring Boot to build entire RESTful API that can be consumed either in a React application or in a Angular or in a mobile application also. Of course, if you want, you can mix the JSP with React. Yes, even in the .NET also, we can do the same thing. But you have to think about it where you want to use it. If it's going to make any sense, then you can do it. Okay, I also have one question. Somebody is asking me about the Redux. Just give me a minute. I can't find that question. Just a second. Okay, so React with Redux make it complex versus Angular. We can React. Redux has nothing to do with the React. It is somebody. Okay, this is also a misconception between the developers that Redux is a part of the React. Redux is just a library we can use to manage the state. Either you can use in React, or we can use with the Angular also. So wherever any JavaScript application which you may require to build, you want to manage the state, you can use React. You can use Redux. I mean, with Angular also, or with even with React also.
Please ask questions if you have. Varun is here, he'll be answering all of them, and then we'll wind up the session.
Okay, so Anjali is asking what is NPM. See, NPM means Node Package Manager. So when we install the node, it's come with the NPM. You can say NPM is bundled with the node. Like in Java, we use the Maven Gradle to manage the dependency. Similarly, Node required the NPM to manage the dependency. You can see by the single command, I can able to install any package, any module. I can able to start the server. So this is what we can do. We can do with the help of the NPM. Yes, you can say NPM is like a build system. Yes, we can use .js extensions instead of JS also. It's your choice. You want to use JS. I personally prefer to write JS, but you can use JSX also. Okay, so Jyoti is asking how communication from the child to parent component take place. See, there are two things, two main concepts. First is the state. Second is the props. So we can use the state to maintain this data within the component, and then we can use props to send data between the components. So suppose parent want to send the data to the child, then we can use props. So props means properties. Did I answer your question, Jyoti? Okay. Any more questions anybody have? Feel free to ask.
Just to add, as Varun said, that there are ample amount of opportunities in industry for front-end developers and back-end developers, along with full-stack developers. Zebia also hire a lot of full-stack developers, and keeping all the skills in mind, we have created a career-assisted program on full-stack development MERGE stack, where it has 8 different layers, where you learn everything from fundamentals and gradually build the level to the DevOps part as well, along with the hands-on experience. So I am entering the certification related information in the chat portal. Varun himself has designed this program that will give you more clarity on what is the entire life cycle of becoming a full stack developer. And that ways you can actually target lot many opportunities out there in the industry. With Zebia, the advantage of learning anything is that we actually practice what we are preaching. When we hire a professional, we know what cutting edge technologies or skills are looked forward into an employee, and that is what we cater. We run with batches every month, and this month we are going to start a batch on next weekend. So if you have any queries, you can reach out on the information which I'm again entering in the chat portal. Do let us know accordingly. And if you have any further questions, we are waiting. I can see Varun has answered a question being asked by Deepak. If you still have questions, please let us know in the Q&A forum, or you can reach out to the email ID and the number shared. I would also request all of you to give your valuable feedback post attending our webinar. A survey link will be shared, and I've also shared it on the chat portal. It will really help us in coming back with lot many other topics related to this field. As we planned a webinar today on React and its components, we have been doing it earlier. We will continue to do so. You can also share feedback on what topics would you like on the webinar to be conducted. Maybe we can plan another session accordingly. And it will hardly take 2 minutes to give your feedback using the same link. So Varun, are we done with I don't think there is any further questions.
I think I already answered all the questions. So if anybody has any question, we can take one more question if you have any. Okay, we got a question from Deepak. We need to overall a big app. We can't change the front end for all the modules. Okay. So Deepak, I didn't get your question. You're asking we need to overall big app and we cannot change the front end for all modules at the same time. I didn't get your question. Can you please elaborate on this?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. Actually, we have a big application that has several modules into it. We have 25 to 30 modules into it. Okay. And we want to change the user interface to match up with the, we want to make it a responsive, user interface. But okay, we cannot do it in one go because it is a big application. It will be a lot of effort. So we want to do it module by module. So my question is, can we mix? I mean, can we convert one or two module, one by one module into the React and run into the same application? The older application runs with the JSP and plain HTML and CSS with Bootstrap.
Yes, you can do that. So React, as I said, it is just a library. The way we use the JavaScript, similarly, you can replace with the React. However, there might be some challenges, but you can do that. You can do
because we are using the older Bootstrap version, like Bootstrap version 3 or maybe lower than that. So is it going to have any compatibility issue with the latest React and the Bootstrap version?
So first, Bootstrap version you are saying?
Yes.
Nothing. So see, React, nothing to do with the, first of all, your Bootstrap. You can use any version, but you have to make sure installing a Bootstrap, you just need to make sure use the same version. And then you have to make sure about the same class you can use. Even the Bootstrap also, they are still supporting all the older versions. So they have not removed their support. So they still have the version. You can just select, even in my case also, if you observe, we have the Bootstrap 5 version out in the market, but I use the 4.6 version specifically. Similarly, you can use your older Bootstrap version, and then you can use in the React. So React will not going to give any problem. You just have you are implementing some CSS class, and you try to find out the definition in the Bootstrap library. That's it.
Okay, so we have to do this exercise in 2 steps. Upgrade the Bootstrap version, then we start using the React in module wise.
Either way you can do it. Either you can first build the React and then you can upgrade migrate to the latest version of the Bootstrap, or you can do it at the same time also.
All right, I think that's some suggestion. Rest is with the R&D.
Yeah.
So I will look into that. Thank you very much.
Okay, so somebody asking what happens if we are using the state for communication between the components and opened up in the two tabs. Okay, so I didn't get your exact question. So what exactly you want to ask? So you are saying that suppose we are doing something in the React application and we open another tab, right? Of course, if you open the new tab, it will go to refresh and try to reload the page. So definitely you can see the changes there. But that is something you need to try and test. Okay, another question is, can we connect the React to some database like SQL Server? No. See, as I said, React is just a front end. SQL Server is something you're going to consume in your backend. So React not directly can communicate with the SQL Server. You need some kind of a backend application which you want to consume or which you want to communicate with your React application. And backend application is responsible to connect with your database. Did I answer your question? Okay. Okay, so I think that's it from my side. I would like to wish you all the best and hopefully see you in the training. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Varun, for such an informative session. I hope all of us here attending the session must have gained the knowledge on React and its components. Thanks a lot for your time. Until then, we'll take your leave. Thanks for attending the session. I would say again, we'll look forward to your feedback. Take care. Stay safe.
Thanks, everyone.
Ramesh, the recordings will be shared shortly over the mail.